If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Don't complain. I'm Julie Brown, and I love to inspire hope.
Welcome to I Share Hope, the podcast where world leaders share their real stories of hope and how you can use actionable hope to start changing your life today. And now, here's your host, Chris Williams.
Julie, Chris Williams, can you see and hear me?
Hey, yeah.
I'm in a car today.
Are you driving?
I'm not literally driving. I thought I should pull over and not die or get a ticket when somebody, like a cop, sees us on social media.
I was going to say, you cannot do this and drive at the same time. I'm a mom, and I'm going to tell you not to do this.
You going to call my mommy? Yeah.
Eat your mommy.
Oh, I'm in Nashville, Tennessee on a trip, and I needed to make sure that we connected, and I didn't want to miss this. So I figured this was the Starbucks was too noisy. That's all there's to it.
This is so surreal because you're like this, like you're actually a real person.
That's for sure. Not in a studio this time, but the car has really great acoustics. I should do this more often.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, you look well set up there. I'm going to try and give myself a full screen.
Okay.
And then wait, hold on. Oh, there we go. There it is.
Take your time.
Well, nice to meet you.
Good
finally.
to meet you too. I know. I'm really excited about this conversation. So let me just walk you through it so you know what to expect, because I don't want you to have any surprises. So
right.
I interview a lot of people, 1,000 people around the globe. So kind of every 8 million people get one representative. If you think of it as people groups, that's a little bit out there, but that's the way it boils down. So I asked the 5 questions. You're hearing me talk just about as much as I'll talk the entire time. This is all about you, not me. And then at the end of the 5th,
we'll sort of have. Can we kind of have a conversation in a way, or
yeah,
so that it's. I have a. Can I drink my water?
I'm ready. So.
Okay, now I'm curious. Is it a podcast, or are you actually filming it, and people can go on and hear me, or hear and see?
Yes to all. And there's actually one other component. So what we do is we video it via Skype like we're doing right now. And these are really fun. We haven't launched the YouTube side of this yet, but ultimately there's a lot of people who learn and grow through YouTube. So we want to make sure that a visual generation is very connected.
Okay.
Then the podcast, obviously that's just the audio. And then we transcribe everything, because this gets put into about almost 40 countries right now, and most of that is written. So we want to make sure that people can see it.
Okay, and could you mind if I just ask you a few questions?
Take your time. Yeah.
How do you promote this so that people hear it? Where is that out there in the world? Yeah,
it's a all over kind of. It's a little bit organic. So I have a Facebook and a Twitter page. In fact, just last week I started an I Share Hope Facebook page. So there really hasn't been that much officialness to the sharing, other than when we do an episode and finally get to release it. We're a couple of months ahead on recordings, and we want to speed up, but we're way ahead, which is really good. But when we release the episode, usually what happens is the guest of the show says, "Hey, interview of me on I Share Hope podcast," or whatever. They blast it out, and then it goes places that we never expect it to. So
let's hope so.
It really comes down to you and the people who love hearing about you, and then we just share in any way we can.
Okay.
So I want to make sure that you take care of all you need to make sure that you're liking what's going to be out there.
Do you see me?
Oh yeah, you're perfect. You're crystal clear.
You have a visual as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, I just need to go pick up one thing right over here. I'm not even leaving the room.
Okay, take your time.
And my dogs are locked up.
Oh.
And I told my mother not to call. But what should we do if my house phone rang? Like, I'm going to turn off my cell phone. It's on vibrate.
You're welcome to answer it. You're welcome to answer it. If your dogs want to come in and hang out at the table as well, that's totally fine. A lot of people actually sit there with their dogs while we talk. It doesn't matter to me.
I've got 4 dogs, and they're chaos. So,
bottom line is, this forum and this type of interview, this is not CNN, so this is real life. We're just having a conversation, and when the phone rings, sometimes my kids come running through if I'm at home video one of these things, and it's the way it works. I'm in my car, so we're not being too official.
I hope that, because I was writing some things down.
Yeah.
So I just want to get this, and the stories, and I don't want to use "I hope" too much. Difficult stories, and so that I help the victim. Stories. In order to help victims. Okay. I'm sort of all over the map on here, so I really want to stay focused because there's so many places you can go with this subject.
Yeah.
But I reviewed all of my questions and everything, so.
Well, you can do whatever you want here. This is really a story about you, and we'll have a conversation, but really this is about your story, not anybody else's or anybody's prescribed pattern. I ask the questions, you answer them.
Okay. And then if in our conversation you want to delve into something, feel free to do that. I'm very fine with improvising. If there's a question that you have that wasn't in the list, we can go for that, and you can edit it out if it's bad.
That's great. Okay. So do you want me to introduce you as Julie Brown, or do you want me to use all three names?
Yeah, well, I write under Julie Mayerson Brown. That's my author name because there's like a million Julie Browns in the world.
I bet.
So
I'll go Mayerson Brown. That's fine.
Julie Mayerson Brown, because that's how my website is, julieMayersonBrown.com, and
sure.
But you'll have that on there because I think you say at the end, how can people reach you?
Exactly. I will get all that contact info and all of that at the very end. I'm just going to make sure that I pull up.
I should have written down my Twitter name, shouldn't I? Because I don't know exactly what it is.
Let me look. It may already be in my notes. Let me see if anybody's put it in there.
Is that how you found me on Twitter?
So
see, there's the phone.
I love it.
There's the phone.
Well, answer Mom. She's calling. Turn your cell phone on.
Well, the way my day's going, it could be. Yep, it's her.
Talk to her. It's fine.
Mom? Hello? Can I call you back? What? Is everything okay? Is everything fine? Okay, I'm on a conference call, so I'm going to be like an hour. Okay, so don't call me back. Okay, bye. Okay. Do you have my Twitter?
I do. I actually do. So we found you. There's a couple of ways we find guests, and a lot of it is we're looking for people who really are sharing hope or have figured out a way to talk about their own story, and they're pretty open about it, or they're doing something that really brings hope to the people in a community, whatever community they may serve. So if that's being an author, or if it's living on this little island that looks like you have to travel to go do your laundry. Is that right? Are you used to?
Me? No.
Yeah, I'm looking at this.
I'm in LA.
I'm looking at this bio here. Okay, so let me tell you what it says here. It says it says Julie Mayerson Brown lives on the Palos Verdes Peninsula, a rural suburb of Los Angeles, with her husband and two sons, whom return from school periodically for a laundry service and homemade chicken soup. I got it. I was glancing through. I thought, she lives. It's L.A. How far away can you get? Got it.
No, my boys are in college.
Absolutely.
My boys are college age, so they but they do come home, and so I think you're looking at my bio from my website or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey.
So you just stumbled over me that way, or did some organization?
Here's who found you. Sai is a girl who works for me. I hate to call her a lady. Sounds like I don't know anybody who's a lady. I think I don't know. I'm still young enough. I think of us as boys and girls still. I don't know. So Sai is a woman who works for I Share Hope, and we're a team of 4 who do this. And she was recently looking for women who had made a huge impact in their world. And I'm pretty sure that's how you're here. So honestly, Sai is going to be super excited that we're talking because she just can't wait to hear.
Well, I don't know how huge the impact is, but I'm hoping it is.
Well, I'm sure we're going to have a good time, and I can't wait to hear whatever you want to say. All right, okay. Julie Mayerson Brown, I'm excited to have you on the show because you've done a lot of hope sharing, as all of our guests have. So now here's how this works, Julie. We've talked about this before, but for anybody new, we're interviewing 1,000 people around the world who are hopeful people, sharing hope in their communities, doing whatever it is they do best. And now you're a novelist and way more. I don't want to spoil it all, but just tell us a little bit before we get into the questions. Who are you? What are you doing? And what's going on in your world? You're in LA and you got a couple of kids in college, right?
Okay. Right. I live in Los Angeles, just outside of Los Angeles. I'm a mother. I have 2 sons, both in college. And I have a passion for dogs, so I rescue dogs. I have 4 at the moment, and I am a writer, and I've been writing for many, many years. And as my boys got older, I decided that I wanted to pursue my love of writing and have that combine with my work in the nonprofit world. So I started writing novels when my younger son was about 16, and I became increasingly irrelevant as he was able to drive and get where he needed to go without me. And but prior to writing, I started a nonprofit organization with a group of mothers. We called it Mothers Advocating Prevention, and we joined hands with the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to bring a program, a safety education program, to our local elementary schools. And we created what we then called the ABCDs and E's of Safety, which was to teach young people the rules to prevent, to help them keep themselves safer. Yeah. There's no guarantee ever, but to prevent abduction, abuse, and exploitation. So after many years of being an educator and running that organization, I wanted to find a new way to put it out there. And so my current project is a work of fiction that is the story of a young girl who does suffer sexual abuse, and the resilience that it takes for her to get beyond that. And it's a darn good story, and I hope that it gets out there. Right now, it is completed, and I am searching for an agent for publishing. So I want to go the traditional route.
Is it a book that even a kid could read? I mean, what's the age appropriateness of that material?
It is an adult. It's an adult audience. I would say appropriate for probably a teen, maybe a 15 or 16-year-old through adult. It would be considered, as far as the genre, it's upmarket women's fiction, which is kind of book club fiction. And what my goal with this book is that it brings up the discussion. There are so many women who are in book clubs, and they love to discuss all kinds of things. And when you bring up a topic that is relevant and topical and touches so many people, then it opens a dialogue that a lot of people shy away from, because abuse, having experienced, a person who has experienced sexual abuse sometimes never, ever, ever will talk about it. They might go their entire life with it hidden away. And I believe that fiction and storytelling is such a useful and moving way to open up the dialogue and to give somebody the place where they feel they have a voice. So that is my hope with this particular project. So it's written, it's edited, it's getting great feedback, and now I just need the agent to help me find a publisher. So
that's really great. I'm excited to see where that goes. You know, I hear that everybody has a novel inside them, and it sounds like you may have 2 or 3 more. I think I tried that out, and I had 2 or 3 paragraphs, but
yeah. No, I have novels that are truly, I'm at the point in my life where I just hope I live long enough to write all the books I feel I need to write. So I'm determined to keep at it.
Do it. Don't stop. Well,
don't stop.
If you're listening to this, you're missing out on some of the fun because if you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting the whole picture here. Julie's sitting in her beautiful home, and I'm sitting in my car. So polar opposites on where we're coming from today. I'm on the road, and she's obviously in a great spot to share hope with us. So Julie, let me ask you these 5 questions that we're asking so many people around the world. Now, question 1 is, what's your favorite quote about hope, or your definition of hope? How do you want to define that word?
Okay. Well, I have some quotes. Most writers love inspiration, whether it's about writing or family or whatever. So I had to kind of narrow down, and so I picked a couple of quotes that I'd like to share with you. One is, and this I just found on the internet, that hope is the little voice you hear whisper maybe when it seems the entire world is shouting no. So I really like that because we have a lot of problems in the world, and it is only natural to feel depressed and down about it. And for me, I've had to work at forcing myself to not lose hope sometimes, because life gets very hard. No matter what people's lives look like, when you look into their house or you talk to them, it looks like some people have it perfect. Well, no one has it perfect. And so this says to me that when you really do get depressed about the world or your life or your problems, you got to hold on to that little maybe. So the whisper of the maybe I can do it. Maybe I can get past this. And then I got a couple more, if that's okay.
Oh yeah, that one's really good, but keep going. You're not going to bore me on this one.
Okay.
This is great.
Okay. And then Maya Angelou, who has thousands and thousands of quotes. I really like this one. It is not exactly about hope, but if I interpret it correctly, it is. And she says, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Don't complain. And I like that because it kind of smacks you upside the head. And I know people who if they would look at life this way, they would have more hope. They would be less negative because change. I love the idea that it's an attitude, and when people are dealing with really huge life struggles, this sounds a little bit like a little cliche, like, hey, buck up and change your attitude. But this is more for people who just complain a lot. And that's just annoying. That's just annoying to everybody. We all need to complain once in a while, but my goodness, come the other way around sometimes, because I'm tired of hearing the complaints and ignore the things that bother you about this person, about a person in your life or a friend or a relative, and find what's good about them. So quit your complaining with that. And then this is one of my favorite quotes, and I kind of worked with this one. I don't know if you've ever heard of Frank Crane, who have you heard of him?
Yes,
Chris?
I have. Yeah.
He was I believe, a minister. He lived in the late 1800s. Mm-hmm. He died in 1928. And he said, "You may be deceived if you trust too much, but you will live in torment if you don't trust enough."
Oh, wow.
And that I heard years ago, and I remember hearing it somewhere, and I ran to write it down on a piece of paper because I got obsessed with that quote. I loved it. And so when I was thinking about hope, I took that quote and I wrote, and I won't take, it's Frank Crane's quote. So not mine, but I say you may be disappointed if you hope too much, but you will live in torment if you don't have hope. And so as hard as it is to maintain hope, you've got to hold on to that little seed of it that things will turn out at some point. And that's why when I think about my character in my book, who gets to the point where she has lost all hope, it is then that she takes control of her situation in a what is seemingly hopeless, but she realizes where she needs to go. So she holds on to that little bit of hope and that to fortify herself and to have some resilience in moving forward. And it's really meaningful to me because in a way that when you, this goes back to my writing, but when you create a character and you fall in love with that character, I'm writing about a young girl and I love her. I mean, she's part of me. She's like my own child. And I had to put her through hell. In order to draw my character in a believable way, I had to bring her down so low, and it broke my heart. But that's what a storyteller has to do in order to give to make their readers or help their readers to believe this and to go with it. So that's my quote on hope.
Your quotes on hope, it's great. Thank you. I love 3. You keep going if you want to. If you call me back later and tell me some more. Okay. I really like. I love your story format too. You're obviously a great storyteller here as well as what you're writing, but I love the way you're attacking that issue. You grab the phone, yeah.
Hey.
It's okay.
I'm on a conference call. Can I call you back? Okay, I'll call you like in an hour. Okay, bye. So important. I hope you can like edit that out.
Oh, I could, but it'd be so fun to leave it in.
And here's Julie. Her telephone.
This is about Julie. It's about Julie and her telephone. That's right.
Okay.
All right. So, I think let's go to question 2 because I love what you're doing with the story, and we're going to get there some more. So tell me a story. Who's shared the most hope with you? Who's been there in your life and given you that kind of hope that you're defining here?
Well, I will admit that I am a blessed person. I have a wonderful life. It has definitely had its ups and downs, and it has definitely had days and times when it has been far from perfect. I mostly was blessed and am blessed with 2 fabulous parents who are now in their 90s and alive, doing relatively well for being as old as they are, and they inspired me my entire life. They gave me confidence, support. They're my biggest fans, and I never suffered. It's sometimes people say, "Oh my God, in order to tell a story, you have to have suffered." Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Anybody who wants to tell a story can tell a story. My stories come from my imagination and from my talking with people, and they come from all over the place. But I am blessed, so I'd say I've gotten so much from my parents and my family, and knowing the history of my family. I'm Jewish. My grandparents immigrated at the turn of the century when came here with nothing. Poverty, really came up from nothing. I am, my dad in particular, he's a first-generation American. Both of his parents came from Russia, Poland, when the pogroms were going on in the late 1800s. And they came to this country, with nothing, and truly, lived through the Depression and raised their family and got to the point where where here we are today, where only 2 generations later, I'm one of probably 18 first cousins, and we all have, we've all made it. We've all had good lives, and so that's just a wonderful thing. But there's a story that I heard a long time ago, and this is like just such a beautiful analogy of how one gives hope. So if you'll indulge me with this, it's not my experience, but it's an experience that I read about and have always come back to. Back in, I believe it was 1996 or 97, when the Oklahoma City bombing took place at the Murrah building, and there was death and destruction, and it was awful. And I came across a newspaper article, and the story, I made some notes, but the story was that when there is a catastrophe, they bring in cadaver dogs to look for life. And I guess they had all of these dogs searching in the rubble for survivors. These dogs found so many dead bodies that the dogs became listless and depressed because they started to lose hope of being successful, because dogs know that my job is to find a person alive. And as they found dead body after dead body, the dogs couldn't do they lost their energy. So volunteers went into the rubble and hid in the rubble to give the dogs hope. They went in so that a dog could find a live person and be encouraged to keep going. Is that not an amazing story?
That is. I've never heard that. And wow, that's interesting.
I'll send you the link, because it's such an inspiring thing, because as I told you, I love dogs, and I know dogs, and I understand how they need to have a purpose. And if they don't have a purpose, they get depressed or they get destructive or whatever. And I think people are that way too. If they lose their purpose, they say, like, when men retire, women too, but particularly when men retire, if they don't have hobbies or volunteer work or something, they lose their will to go on. And having a purpose in life, that is hope, purpose, it's one and the same to me in a way, because if you don't feel like you have a purpose, you lose all hope. And so I love that story. I think it inspires in me so much resilience, that people can find resilience when they are given that. So I just thought it was a beautiful thing that these dogs regained hope that way.
I think it's a beautiful thing too, because I almost said something a minute ago, and I'm glad I didn't. But I was thinking, Julie, don't ever apologize for having a blessed life that your grandparents and parents and other family members have worked so hard for. That is so awesome. And people do think, oh, well, I've never had this big bad thing happen, so I don't have a community that needs to hear from me. Like, I'm ever going to get on a stage and tell them, well, my life was great, so yours can be too. That's not what the point is.
That's not, yeah.
But you're right. That story, though, about these dogs needing someone that wasn't dead, but someone who did have life and energy and still was very alive, to come in and say, great job, now keep going. Because I'm a runner, and I've run a lot of races, and there's those people towards the end of the race, the crowd on the sidelines gets pretty thin, and then there's usually this one or two just crazy people who are just screaming their heads off, and it makes you forget about the pain. And they're not in pain, they're not even running, but they're just so helpful,
Absolutely. Encouragement is hugely important.
Good point. So question 3 then. You do seem to have a very...
I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
Send you the link to the newspaper article from 1977. 1997.
97, yeah.
When it came out.
Please do. All right, question 3. So take us back to a time in your life. You look like you have a beautiful house. You're a beautiful person. You've got a great family. You've got a great history behind you. You live in LA, a beautiful sunny spot on the planet. you're in a great spot. But no matter how good your life is, we all have our bad days, bad year, bad month, bad whatever. So what goes on in your life, or what's gone on that you've had to say, I got to regain hope, and I've needed those people around me to really support me at those times, What's back there?
That question I have a little trouble answering. Some things are a little too personal to share.
It's okay.
But I will say that it took a lot of maturity on my part to get to the point where I could hold on to hope. Of course, I have my bad days and I have my ups and downs. And as any writer would tell you, you have to have a really thick skin. You get a lot of rejection, but you have to have faith in your work. So I would say that I have had my struggles. I've had some health struggles that I've gotten through. And I think the most important thing is that I've been blessed, as I said before, with a wonderful supportive family. And I have surrounded myself, not by accident, but on purpose, with amazing friends. And I think for any struggle, and I'm blessed to have them, but I worked to get them, and I worked to keep them. And for somebody, the worst thing is to be isolated. And I'm a huge believer in support groups, that when somebody suffers a catastrophe, they lose a loved one, they're suffering from an illness, I think it's essential to talk to people who understand what you're feeling because they have experienced it as well. And I know somebody who lost a child with a horrible situation, and they struggled terribly. And I was like, finally they did go to a support group, because if you're a parent who it's the worst thing. It's the absolute worst thing in the world to lose a child. We all eventually lose our parents. That's the order. That's how it should be. No parent should have to lose a child. The shooting in South Carolina, the one in Newton. These are experiences that no one should have, and you wouldn't blame them to say, I have no hope. I don't want to go on. I think it's essential to find a support group, to surround yourself with people who can help you, who can understand, who will listen. Because if you isolate yourself under those circumstances, it's impossible to come out. You have to be surrounded by love, support, help.
Yeah. Oh, Julie, you're saying so much. And I really want to emphasize to so many people that are listening in so many places around the world, there are a lot of people who really think, it hasn't been that bad for me. We got to come back to that, because you're doing the work that takes so much heart and energy that sometimes people have had it beaten out of them by life for choices they made, choices they didn't make that happened to them. It's just life, But what you just said about community, and you're being intentional about building that community around you, wow, that's important, because you've got it going on a smooth track right now, and hopefully that will be the course for the remainder of your life. But like you mentioned in South Carolina, there's things that pop up for all of us in life that we don't expect, and the day it pops up is it's kind of too late to start building that community. Yeah. You need to invest.
It just makes it that much harder. And I can't tell you how many times I'll be talking with somebody and we'll just be having a conversation, and the thought just passes through my head that I know if I need something, I have a support group, I have my girlfriends, and women are so good at this. Women are much better at this than men. And I tell men, when I speak to men about this subject, and I say, you know what, you guys, You need to surround yourself with friends. You met, like, and for instance, my husband, he has some very, very close male friends. And I am so grateful that he has these men in his life, because they go through things that I'm not going to understand. But women, we're just great at it in general. We have our girlfriends. And like I said, if I have something happen, if I have a hard time, if I have a difficult situation, I know my girlfriends will be here at the drop of a hat. They are there for me. And every time somebody has a health issue, there are dinners on their doorstep. Like there's so much food, they can't even eat it all. I'm at the age where I have friends with health issues. Somebody has breast cancer. We are setting up who's driving her to the doctor on this day, this day, this day. Who's bringing dinner? Who's picking up the kids from school and making sure that the children are taken care of while she's taking care of her health. This is the kind of thing that gives hope to somebody who's struggling with something, a health issue or a family crisis. It's the rebar that keeps the building standing. So for a weird architectural analogy, I just thought that up. But we're like the pillars of strength.
Yeah. Boy,
for each other when it's needed.
That's so good. And there's so many ways you can build that community. Some people naturally build friends, and they're just the party planners, and they always have somebody coming around. Some people are the introverts, and they don't naturally build those friends. But there's always somewhere you can go in your community. You can volunteer in an organization. You can join a dinner club. You can start planting flowers at the entrance to your apartment building and do something. Right. And somebody who loves planting flowers, I promise they'll show up after a few Saturdays and start helping you. And you just let it go, but you start now.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Oh, good stuff. Question 4.
Yeah.
So, how are you sharing hope today? You're writing books, and you're planning meals and taking friends to where they need to go on a medical visit or whatever. But tell me a few more, just for those really practical. When you walk down the street or when you're at the Starbucks tomorrow, how do you share hope with people around you?
Well, I wrote a few things down. I'm not sure if that's if maybe I'm combining the two questions.
You can combine 4 and 5 if you want. So yeah, the next question for those who don't know is some simple steps we can take to start sharing hope. And if they're the same ones that you're doing already, then let's learn. Jump in. In
some ways it is. Let me see what I did. So as you could probably tell, I'm sort of got a big personality. I'm extremely friendly because I enjoy that. I love to talk to people I don't know. I love to hear their stories, and that's probably the storyteller in me. I just think people are fascinating, and what they're doing is interesting. And so being friendly for me, I think, really does give people hope. I enjoy going out of my way for other people. And I think the most important thing, or one of the most important things that I've embraced in my life, is that I'll do something nice for somebody, and I truly, believe it or not, I do not expect them to do something nice in return. If it happens, great. You drive a friend to the airport. If they can drive you the next time you need to go, great. But you're not doing it to build up an account of favors owed you. You're doing it because you're available and you can do it, and why not do it? And I enjoy doing that kind of thing. And I think some people don't look at life that way. And if more people went through their day and thought, if I can do something nice for somebody, I'm just gonna do it and not worry about whether it ever comes back to me. And I had a lovely young woman that I was with some time ago, a long time ago, a couple years ago, and she had stayed in my house. She was a friend of my niece, and we just became friends, and I really loved her, and we just hit it off. And we met up a while later, and we went to lunch. And so the bill came, and she like is young enough to be my daughter. And we kind of fought over the bill. I said, absolutely not. I am taking you to lunch. And she says to me, Julie, you have done so much for me. How can I ever give that back to you? And I said, sweetie, you will not give it back to me. You will give it to somebody else. When you're my age, you're going to embrace a young person and bring them into your home and feed them and do whatever you need. And you will mommy that person the way I've gotten this opportunity to mommy you. I said, you have no idea how much joy it's given me to be with you and that you've shared your time with me. And it's a pay it forward kind of thing. And I explained that to her, and she thought that was lovely and sweet, and oh, thank you. But what I'm hopeful is that for young people who don't think it through quite that much, that they will have these experiences when people do go out of their way for them, and they can never turn around. They don't have the finances. They'll never be in the position to return the favor, so they have to pay it forward. They have to know that when in 10, in 20 years, when they have an opportunity to mentor a young person, to inspire a young person, to buy a meal for a young person, they will have experienced it themselves, and almost subconsciously they'll just do it because they had it, even if they're not thinking about it. They're like, that's the right thing to do. That's the nice thing to do. And I am sure that I am that way, and my husband is that way, because people that we don't even remember did it for us back when we were in our 20s and didn't know where we were headed in life and didn't have any money and needed a leg up or needed encouragement. They gave that to us, and now that is something so important that we do.
That's a great one. It's so simple. It's so simple, but it seems really complicated. Well, mentoring, wow, do I have to have a lesson plan or what? But no, you just pay it forward. What a great statement.
Yeah.
Just
and particularly in the kids coming out of school today, mm-hmm. in the United States, I mean, it's tough. Even those who have advantages, it is tough to find a job.
Yeah.
And if they can just sit down with somebody, I mentor young writers, and I am thrilled to do it. I love doing it. I just love to talk to them and hear about what they're writing and look at what they're writing, and they need that. And it is such a simple thing to do. Go have lunch with this young person, invite them into your home, sit down with them for an hour or so, and let them know what you do, because that's how they will, that'll help them move on and give them encouragement. And it is frightfully easy. It is so easy, and it's so enjoyable that I don't know why everybody's not doing it.
I love it. Okay. You've done an awesome job answering the 5 questions. So before we end this episode, how do we find out more about you? Facebook, Twitter. In fact, am I supposed to? Let me look here. I think I might have this Twitter address written down. I'll start with that. And then I think I have a website too. So I have JulieMayersonBrown.com. That's JulieMayersonBrown.com. And at Twitter, the Twitter handle is JM, as in Mayerson, Brown, BROWN, 2012. So JM Brown 2012 is the Twitter handle, and that may be the same for other social media outlets as well. I'm not sure. I do know one thing.
I have a Facebook page.
Yeah. I was going to say one thing for sure is at the end of this, when you're listening to this, jump over to isharehope.com and look for Julie Mayerson Brown, and we will have all of the links that connect to Julie right there to make it super easy for everybody. Okay.
Well, I'm going to show you. This is my book that's out.
Yeah.
This one is published. It was published by World Nouveau, independent publishing house, a couple years ago. Sweet, funny, romantic holiday story.
Great.
But also very much encompasses hope and getting through life and choosing your path and learning where you belong, making changes, not giving up.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. So thank you for letting me do that. And my book has a Facebook page. I am on Facebook, which I use. It's fun. It's mostly with my friends and catching up with people I've lost touch with, but I do engage with people there. But I'm happy to connect in any way. A message on Twitter is probably the easiest.
Okay.
Because everybody's doing it.
Everybody is.
Or a lot of people are, but it's a good way to find people. My website, julieMayersonBrown.com, is mostly about my writing, and there's some humor in there. I'm not as active on it as I should be, but I blog, and so my blog appears on there.
Good.
And I also blog with a group of writers, and it's called 8 Great Storytellers, and that's out there. So I'm out there in the social media world, and if you Google my name, all of this will come up. So, Chris, no one's going to have trouble finding me, and now you get me too.
If you don't find Julie, it's not Julie's fault, and it's not my fault. Yeah.
I'm here.
All right. So, Julie, let's take a quick break here. And Jeff does all the audio editing. So, Jeff, we're taking this break. You can back up to where we just finished the contact info when he's listening to this a month from now. So, Julie, let's get a few quotes. So, at the beginning of the episode, we'll take some quote that you said, and we'll put that up at the beginning, and then it will introduce your episode, kind of a little interest getter. So I want to have your quote, which you don't have to think of now, and then you'll say your name and I share hope. So we'll have quote, and then it'll be, I'm Julie Mayerson and I share hope. It's kind of the signature off to your quote. So you can say, I'm Julie Mayerson and I share hope, or you can say, I'm Julie Mayerson, novelist of this book or this, and I share hope. Whatever you want to introduce yourself as.
Let me see. Wait, I wrote something down.
Okay.
Oh, I wrote. I'm Julie May. I'll probably say I'm Julie Brown, just because it's easier.
Whatever you want to say.
Does that matter? That doesn't matter. And I love to inspire hope.
Oh, that's good. Okay, yes. I'm Julie Brown. And I love to inspire hope. And
then the only other thing, did you want me to, give people? Although we've had a long interview, so I'm ready to. I mean, I'll talk forever, as you can tell, but. Give people little things they can do to inspire hope? Was that one of the questions?
Yeah.
Or are we?
No, that's good. If we can jump that back in and kind of put that at the end of question 5, we'll just tag it back in there. Not a problem at all. You want to do that? You got a few more?
I got it.
Yeah. All right. Let's do this then. I'm going to hit mute and get your I share hope quote. The I'm Julie Brown and I share hope. And then when I come back, we'll let Jeff put that back in the end of question 5. Jeff, before her contact info, we'll just tag it on there so it flows really well. So I'm going to hit mute, go for your quotes, and then in a second we'll get to the other part of question 5. All right, hang on.
Okay. I'm Julie Brown, and I love to inspire hope. Do you want me to do it again?
You're perfect that time. Yeah, we're good. All right, that's great. Okay, so Jeff, you can start the audio here. So Julie, you've got more things that we can do to inspire others with hope. So tell me about that. Well,
if somebody were to ask me, how can I start? How can I build my way into sharing hope or, feeling more hopeful? I would suggest start really small. Little tiny favors. Go across the street and pull up the trash cans of a neighbor for no other reason than you're pulling up yours. You might as well pull up theirs, and just do it. Leave them up there. Open a door for somebody. Not too long ago, I was having kind of a rough day, and honest to God, it was the simplest thing. Somebody opened a door for me. A young woman, a young girl, and I just said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. And she looked at me and she said, I feel like I just made your day. And I said, honestly, you kind of did. And it was just the sweetest thing. All she did was open the door. But that's the kind of thing that when somebody's down and depressed, or they're tired, or they don't feel well, the smallest gesture really does bolster them, gives them hope. And I could come up with a million things, but it's just call somebody who's not feeling well. Send a quick email to an acquaintance who's going through a rough time. Just because you're not close friends with somebody, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't contact them when they're sick, or when they've lost a loved one, or when they're having trouble. I am a huge believer in the old-fashioned note writing. In fact, I just happen to have this here because I'm about to send a note to somebody, and I think, everything's electronic these days. How often do you open your mailbox and pull out something that's not a bill or an ad? Do you know how nice it is to open your mailbox and go, oh my gosh, an actual letter?
That is so true.
Write a letter to your mom, to your friend, to your grandparents. If you still have grandparents on this earth, be in touch with them. Give them a quick call. It takes so little for you to make their day. Just knowing that you are thinking about them. And I know that because my parents are elderly, and if they tell me they got a call from one of their grandchildren, they're over the moon. They're so happy. And that's what sharing hope, sharing happiness, it all is one and the same big, beautiful flower. And start small, don't stress, just do it. Just write the letter, make the call.
Simple advice that is so powerful.
Simple.
All right, Julie, I have a couple of random questions just because my mind works like a 3-year-old, basically. Yeah.
Love improvisation.
All right, so you live in LA, and we're going to be visiting LA as a family in like 3 or 4 weeks. I forget, somewhere out there. So
I hope you'll get in touch with me.
I'll shoot you a text or a tweet or something. Yeah, I'll let you know when we're coming through. That's awesome. But
I will cook you dinner. How many kids do you have?
5. You might not want to sign up for dinner duty.
Bring them. How old are they?
8 to 14. So there's 5 of them within 6.5 years. 8 to 14.
Well, I feel like I know you, Chris. So you and your family would be so welcome in my home.
Aw, that is very sweet.
Really, I am as genuine as I'm sitting here right now.
Wow, that's super sweet.
So
I will shoot you a text when we're coming through town.
Airport.
You what? What'd you say?
I'll pick you up from the airport.
You don't have to do all that. Well, I'll give you a text when we're coming through, because we're kind of traveling the coast of California, just seeing some California that we haven't seen, and we're gonna scoot on through eventually and head down to San Diego, I think, before we start heading home. All right. So anyway, you've lived in LA a long time, and is it true? Do you see movie stars all over the place? What's it like? You know
what? We do see movie stars once in a while. Depends on where you go. If you're up in the Hollywood area, I travel to New York a fair amount. I tend to see more celebrities in New York, but once in a while, yeah. And it's very funny because even though I live in LA and I'm in, right on the edge of Hollywood, we still get a little excited when we see a movie star. But there are way more regular people in LA than there are movie stars. So when you visit LA, don't hold your breath. You might get a sighting, but probably not.
Well, sooner or later, these novels, you'll be one of those people. So we should come to dinner while we get a chance before security's like guarding your house and you're on the bus tour and all that.
Wouldn't that be something?
All right, so if you're going to put the earbuds in and you're just going to pop in some music that's going to make you feel awesome, give me the band and the song. What are you going to listen to?
I am going to listen to Build Me Up Buttercup by the Foundations. Foundations, is that right? Do you know that song?
Build Me Up. I don't, but Build Me Up Buttercup. What a great title.
Build me up, buttercup. I can't even go there. That would be so embarrassing. But that's my all-time, if you want to see me dance, Build Me Up Buttercup.
That's great.
It's an oldie but a goodie. And I think they were one hit. I think that band was the one-hit wonder with that song.
That's a great one. And last question. So we're coming to LA as a family. the best free thing to do with a family, best free thing to do in LA with a family for anybody who's visiting.
Well, at this time of year, I got to tell you, the beach.
Okay.
But you want to check to make sure it's open. We had an oil spill up in Santa Barbara,
Okay.
so a few of the beaches were closed. If you go to the Santa Monica area, to that beach, it's very crowded. Parking's difficult. If you come further south, if you're driving towards San Diego, you will pass so many beaches. Parking might be a few bucks. If you find parking on the street, you're good. It's free. It's gorgeous. It's magnificent. Also, if you're into hiking,
Yeah.
beautiful trails, magnificent mountains. Griffith Park is just spectacular. You could probably go see Hollywood Bowl. If they're not in the midst of a performance, you could go see the stage, and I don't know, that would be something for you to check out to see if they'll let you in. But as far as nature, it's as beautiful as anywhere in the world.
Well, there you go. So myself and all these other listeners, literally in almost 40 countries right now, we all see the movies, and it sounds like it's as cool as it looks on TV. So can't wait to see some of that. That's really exciting.
It is beautiful. Right now we're in a drought, and so we're all conserving water, desperately conserving water, letting our lawns die, doing our part. So, there are areas that are a little dicey, so know where you're going.
Sure. That's every city.
As in any big city.
Yeah.
And but the California coastline is one of the most beautiful places, from Southern California all the way up to Northern California. It's some of the most beautiful sights in the whole world. Gorgeous.
Awesome. Well, travel guide and novelist Julie Brown, so great to talk to you. Excuse me, Julie Mayerson Brown. I want to make sure I say it right so you can get that website right, julieMayersonBrown.com. And all of these notes and pictures and any... Boy, we get...
What happened?
I don't know. There's some thunderstorms brewing overhead. I think it just popped me off the internet real quick.
Give me 1 second. I have to pull my dinner out of the oven. Here, you can come with me.
Okay.
Because I don't cook every night, but I have a friend coming in from out of town, and so I've actually made a beautiful chicken. Can you see it?
Yes, I feel like I'm on a cooking show.
Yeah, and I'm not even that good of a cook, but this one looks like it turned out.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm good at roast chicken. Like most Jewish mothers, I am very good with chicken. So, anyway, believe me, nothing inspires hope like a good meal.
I tell you what, if you better be careful, because I think I really am going to call you up to feed my family if you keep going like this.
Honestly, truthfully, I would be delighted.
You're so sweet.
So.
All right, now.
Yes.
On our way out again, restarting this goodbye. So, Julie Mayerson Brown, thank you. You've been awesome to talk to. I can't wait to share the story and to share these books that you're writing and to take some of your travel tips. So, look forward to hopefully seeing you in LA and just to sharing so much as we go through life and get to push this out on social media. People get to engage in what you're doing and the way you're reaching people. It's unique and it's you. And that's the way it should be. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for finding me and asking me to do this, because I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, it's been a privilege. Enjoy your evening and the turkey.
Thank you.
Oh, no, the chicken. Sorry.
Just the chicken.
All right. Bye-bye.
Take care and say hello to your family.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
You've just listened to I Share Hope. If you're ready to make a change, head to our website at isharehope.com and claim your free copy of the Top 10 Actions of Hope from World Leaders to use hope in your own life. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.